Okay, just wanted to do another short video. I know in True Master there is a um, correspondence or parallel between what scientists call scalar waves and what we're calling in the book um, principles, right? Because in that context, what we're calling in the book the river of changes is basically the electromagnetic spectrum. So, in the electromagnetic spectrum, on this side of things meaning like physical matter, you have excuse me, you have a a spectrum of traveling waves. Traveling meaning they're going in some particular direction. You know what I mean? So that's how, in a lot of cases, that's one of the ways that we measure them, or you see things. Okay, this can be a particle, this can be a wave because it's traveling. It's what they call transverse. Um, on another side of things, you'll have what's viewed as scalar. So all of those waves will have like a scalar component. Scalar meaning it's like the temperature in a room. It doesn't go anywhere. It just sits there. So another analogy of this would be let's say like a scalar freak frequency infers motion, but let's say like a scalar potential or what have you would be like middle C on a piano. And middle C is just a key, it just exists. But when you play middle C, that's when you get into the transverse aspect of it and you get into um, the motion of the waves or the electromagnetic spectrum. In the book, you'll also see, a lot of this material. You got to kind of get the book to get to see what I'm talking about, the intricacies of it. But when you get into the book self to self, you'll see a kind of a breakdown, and it talks about dimensions. It talks about things being grouped into types and all that stuff like that. It talks about a single unit. It talks about a group. It talks about a larger group, and it talks about a theme that governs that group or what have you. It talks about all those things. Well, I know that sounds crazy to some people, and some people might look as if um, that's just a figment of my imagination, but I promise you it's not. All of my opinions come with bibliographies. So if you get into the work of John Keeley, um, and you get into some of the non-traditional meaning non-Einsteinian models of the atom, and you get into some of Keely's stuff, he talks about atoms similar to that. He talks about sympathetic vibration. Sympathetic vibration means everything vibrates. It's kind of similar to string theory, but everything vibrates, and everything, all like things have some common resonance. They have some sympathetic vibration. So it's very similar to how I was describing of things being grouped into types or patterns. And then when you get into different, every person would be like a chord. You see what I'm saying? So you wouldn't just be one vibration, you would be a chord of vibrations and everything like that. So you would tie into multiple, you would resonate with multiple other groups and things of that nature. So that's kind of like it's just kind of what I want to kind of bring. um I know in volume 3 of True Master, it's a reference to like the seven liberal arts, and one of the seven liberal arts is music. So a lot of this stuff, when we talk about frequencies and vibrations and everything like that, even when we get into astrology, from what I understand, like when you read books like the Timaeus, that's attributed to Plato, and don't get thrown off by this um all my super duper African people, don't get thrown off by when I use the terminology Plato, because a lot when you read a lot of the works that's attributed to Plato, they parallel with a lot of the doctrine that's attributed to Tahuti. So he was a student of somebody else that taught him something else. But when you get into, let's say, like the book, the Timaeus, um, and he talks about the planets and the forces and stuff like that, he's not talking about rocks in the sky. He's talking about the forces behind the rocks in the sky. The rocks in the sky are a symbolic representation of greater forces that are non-physical. If you, the planet Mars in astrology deals with action. If you blew up the planet Mars, it wouldn't cease action on the Earth. Um, the energy of action is something that's not specific to the planet Mars. Mars is a representation of that from a geocentric perspective. When you deal in astrology, you're dealing with geocentric. So you're at the eye of the hurricane, and then everything out, you're measuring your field. You're getting a gauge for the field, and these different things in the field are like field perturbations. Perturbation is just a disturbance in the field. You see what I'm saying? So they're representations of disturbances in the field that represent a particular quality of non-tangible, non-electromagnetic spectrum, in the words of True Master, river of changes type energy. You see what I'm saying? So that's kind of um, where this goes. But just trying to keep this short and sweet. Thanks for tuning in.